Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to AVX Live. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audio Visual Services, and I'm looking forward to another great show. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. My co-host, Mr. Ryan Finch, is not with us today, but feel free to put some comments up, send him your well wishes, and he'll be back in action next week. So every week we discuss technology and how people are using it in their lives. Last week, we were talking about PTZ cameras, right? Robotic cameras and how to best use them. And they're really, really cool equipment. We have a number of current projects that are going to be using them really in the next week and a half. So we're looking forward to really getting our hands on those and, making them kind of spin around a little bit. I mean, it's fun. Buzzes, clicks, lights, it's fun stuff. Either way, this week, we're going to have a great discussion with one of our long-term partners, Make-A-Wish. But before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about the show. Stuff you guys already know, right? So we're on every Wednesday at 1 p.m. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. While you're there, like Ryan would say, you got to smash the subscribe button. He doesn't let me say it usually, but he's not here. So we'll just let it go. Drop us a comment, okay? Be a part of the show. We'll answer anything we can live. If not, then probably have Ryan come back to you and write you something. You got to put him to work somehow. Either way, check it out afterwards. Alexa's going to cut up some of these and make a little short video clips, and you can find that on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, so I think it's time to get the show started. And today I am going to tell you a little bit. Hold on, give me a second here. About my friend Kristine Burton. Kristine has spent the last 2 decades in the nonprofit field, dedicated to enhancing the lives of the young people who really need it the most. She is the CEO and president of Make-A-Wish Hudson Valley, which creates life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses in 8 of the Hudson Valley counties. Prior to Make-A-Wish, Kristine served as the vice president of Madison Square Garden's Garden of Dreams Foundation. And before that, she was part of Special Olympics New York. Now, Kristine's wish was to go on an African safari, but all we could offer her today was a special appearance on AVX Live. So please welcome to the show, Kristine Burton.
Hey there, Joe. How are you?
So it's not an African safari.
No, it's not. But I haven't had it yet, so my wish is still waiting to come true.
Okay, so it's still valid. That's good.
Yes. We'll see what we can do. Hopefully soon.
Well, that's a pretty good wish. I mean, have you always wanted to do that?
I think I don't know. Maybe it was watching Survivor over the years. It was something like, oh, maybe I want to do that. But I've always watched those types of, getting on those vehicles and going through the savannas of Africa. It's just very, very adventurous and very intriguing to me, like something I don't know a lot about. So
yeah.
I think, when I joined the organization, they asked me what would my wish be, and that's what I came up with. So, it's sort of like what our wish kids do. It's like dream about what you never thought you could achieve or where you could never think yourself going. And that's exactly what I did.
It's pretty wild, and I think maybe because it's just so different, right? It's so different than your current environment. That's what makes it so cool.
Exactly. And just, it's like something you always read about in books or saw on YouTube or watched as a kid, so it's just sort of that it's the dreaming and it's the thinking about what the possibility of that could be, that it's part of what we do here at Make-A-Wish is give kids hope and give them something to keep their mind off of what their current situation is. And so I think we all love to daydream, right? Who doesn't like to just take a minute as you're driving or, maybe in the morning in the shower thinking about like, what different things can I do? And that's sort of where my brain always goes to. So hopefully one day soon I'll have to come back on, and when my wish comes true, we'll do a picture, videos or something.
I think that's great. I'm all for that. That's more content, right?
Right, exactly.
Abe and the team, they like content. So
storytelling.
Absolutely. Well, you guys always tell a great story because you're always doing good things, and I think that's really why we enjoy working with Make-A-Wish so much. But maybe you could tell everybody else a little bit about Make-A-Wish Hudson Valley and your current role there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the newbie of the office. I've joined in January of this year, so still learning, but I'm thrilled to be the president and CEO of the organization. I've been affiliated with Make-A-Wish Hudson Valley for a better part of 15 years in my previous role. So I've always been a big, huge fan of the work that they do. So to be sitting here today in the seat is definitely a dream come true or a wish come true for me in that way. I grew up in the Hudson Valley. I lived in Ossining. I went to Ossining High School. I've been part of the Hudson Valley. I currently live in Peekskill. So I am a native Westchester Hudson Valley person. So what better place to to have this incredible gift of a role that I've been given than right where I grew up and giving back to, where I've the only place I've ever known to live. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been great.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And you're only a few miles really away from where I live as well.
Okay.
It's a small community, and I think that's what makes it so special. But Make-A-Wish is, I mean, thousands of wishes, right? Are we talking about over 3,000 wishes out of?
Yeah, we just a few months ago we just granted our 3,000th wish just this past fall, which is unbelievable since we were started in 1986. So just think about all of those children and all of their families like that had the power of a wish given to them. And we still have quite a group of kids who are ready to go. It's been tough couple of years for all of us, and thinking through what a wish kid goes through on a daily basis. So getting wishes, and we've all had to halt our travel in some ways, during this time, and so getting kids now started on their journeys again is something that the team here is looking forward to and has already started. So that's exciting. We have kids going to Disney. We had a couple of young people in Hawaii last week or the week before. So it's been great. And then there's also wishes that happen right here in our community. We had back in the fall there was a young girl named Isabella, I think her name is, to get a treehouse. So she wished for a treehouse, and that the community came together up in our northern region of the Hudson Valley and gave her a treehouse. And what could be better than that?
That's cool.
So while we've all had to stay home, some things have, we've all, you hear everyone wants to improve their house and things like that. Well, our wish kids are no different. They've had to stay home. It's been great that we've gotten to do some wishes that they, right in their home. Just talking to one of our wish coordinators about an hour ago, she let me know that we have a pool going in at a young person's house, and that's something that she wished for. So the chapter does really unique things. It's what we talked about earlier. It's whatever a child can dream, we can try to make come true for them. So that's what's great about Make-A-Wish. It's not just going someplace, or it's whatever that true heartfelt wish of a child is. And that's awesome that we get that. I mean, I tell the team all the time, like, we're given the greatest gift that we get to do this for kids who need it when they need it the most.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it really is pretty incredible, right?
It sure is. It sure is. It's such that's how I think of it, is I've been given this gift of this role, and to be able to in essence dole out magic. Like what could be a better job,
Yeah, no, it's pretty special. It really is. And that, and we, like I said, we've always enjoyed our relationship with not only the chapter but the whole organization. I think because it feels so good, like, because you're not
Right.
just really seeing how it affects the child, but also their whole family, because they're just
Absolutely.
going through so much trauma.
Right. And and like that's such a great point, Joe, is that, it's the wish kid who's, going through the illness, but, it's a whole family that will go through it. And siblings, they're living that trauma as well. And they deserve to have some hope and to be part of it. And so we always make sure to include the family in the journey on the wish journey, because without that, they're sometimes in certain cases they are asked to change their lives for their sibling,
Right.
because appointments or just being being hospital, if you're hospitalized, like that affects everyone. And so when that wish does come true, it's really important that the siblings be a part of that, because they're part of the life of that child too. And so it's really super important for us to make sure that they all get to enjoy that.
Well, it's a great thing. You guys are doing good work, so we're happy to learn more. And I just posted a link for everybody, so you guys can check that out in the comments section. But here is the link, so you can go to the Hudson Valley chapter. But certainly you can learn more about Make-A-Wish very easily, because it's just such a popular group.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's the best place to go. And also, obviously, our social media handles will get you back there as well. But that's what we talked about, storytelling. There's lots of stories. That's one thing that we very much have, is stories to tell. And so what's the best way to tell those stories? And I think that's, talking about technology and things like that, that's the next step. That is a step for us, is to try to tell the stories in the most profound way that get everyone, our volunteers and just the community, to really know how great these children are and what their journeys are, and and how ultimately, obviously, the support of our organization will help us reach even more kids like them.
That's very cool. Well, I think we'll talk a little bit more about technology in a second, but I guess I'm kind of curious how you got into the nonprofit world to start with. I mean, you've been doing it for a little bit, so how did you get involved in it first, anyways?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big sports fan growing up. Played sports, just love sports. And so when I went to college, I was like, maybe I want to get in sports. And I'm so old, Joe, that when they did that, they didn't have like a sports management. Science wasn't a thing then. So, so I sort of made my own. Like I did internships with minor league baseball team, a minor league hockey team, and really got myself like, okay, maybe this is what I want to do. I was a business major when I was 17, and they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a business major. That lasted about one semester, and I was like, this is not for me as a full-time thing. It just wasn't, that side of my brain wasn't the strongest. The creative, doing good kind of kept rising to the top. So long and short is you sort of created my own sports management program without actually officially taking one. And so when I graduated college, I was like, well, just like everybody does, what do I do next, right? And I did a little work in college sports, and it was great, but I was like, I kept always going back to, I need to help others. Like it was something that was, I don't want to say a calling, but it just was always pulling me back. I always had an affinity to helping others in different ways. So the opportunity came to work at Special Olympics, and I was like, this married that with sports, right? It was like the perfect, and I had never really worked in nonprofit, volunteered and stuff, but not. So that I put together competitions for people with intellectual disabilities. Never had worked with that population of people before. And it was the greatest thing, greatest job. Loved every second of it. It was just phenomenal. I had no idea, like that first event I went to, I didn't know. I was 22 years old. I didn't know. I was like, oh, we're going to do softball tournament. We're going to do basketball. Like, how hard can that be? And just knowing that, and then just meeting the families of the athletes and understanding how meaningful this program was to them. It was just mind blowing for me. And it was just the greatest. I loved it. I learned so much about just, how nonprofits run. So it was a great hands-on experience, and it got me really wanting to do more. And then the opportunity came several years later to go work at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, in working in the nonprofit that they have, which ultimately became called the Garden of Dreams Foundation, which I'm very proud of being part of the team that started that organization. Really was part of the strategy of how that builds. So basically it was all the properties of the MSG family coming together and doing good in the community and being, quote, heroic is what we were tasked to do. So that was right at the 2001. So I had been there a short time, and this change happened, and it was just phenomenal what we were able to do. And that's how I became affiliated with Make-A-Wish. It's because I partnered with this chapter as well as other Make-A-Wish chapters. So I really learned what it was. But so that time really just helped me grow and really even cut my teeth in more on the business side of nonprofit. So with Special Olympics, it was more program, and that really, this opportunity over the past little bit at MSG really helped me understand how to run a nonprofit and to really understand like what it means to, you know, people think, oh, nonprofit, that's so sweet. Like it is a bit there, it's a business, you know, we all have budgets, we all have all of those
Right.
things. And it's, you need to run. I think that's something I've often said, like the growth of nonprofit over the last 40 to 50 years is like, it was always, in many cases, not always, but in a lot of grassroots organizations who meant so well, but didn't have the business acumen to run an organization. So I think that it's professionalized as a profession over time. So I just got that opportunity and just grew our program. And when I left, you know, at the end of last year, we had helped over 300,000 children. So it was just a
Wow.
great journey there, and just doing so much for children in our area. So it was just phenomenal. So that's a real quick explanation of my journey, but I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I don't know that I would know how or want to. I used to look at MSG, you know, I had colleagues who worked in sales and they're all hustling and getting ticket sales. And I'm like, that's not for me, but we still do it because we still have to hustle to, you know, to obviously fundraise, but to me, it's got a different feel to it. So I could never do that, but appreciate, you know, everyone else's roles. But, you know, I have a love of helping others, and that I get to marry that with my career. What could be better?
Oh, that's great. It's a really cool transition to go from the sports management side into, you know, you kind of just landed there by accident a little bit, and then you found a whole nother passion while doing that. And,
Yeah.
you know, I noticed the pictures behind you. I see the Madison Square Garden. I too have pictures behind me, but of a different team, different
Yes.
city, different team, you know. So
Yes.
I was looking for where my Celtics hat was because I have my Celtics green on today, but it's kind of too far away. The headphones will pull out. It won't go well. So
all good. You guys are doing well. You guys are doing well in the playoffs.
but we're trying. We'll see how it all shapes up tonight. But I think we're in an okay place though. But hopefully the Rangers do a little bit better and they'll be in a better place. But
let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Not over yet. Not over yet.
No, definitely not. We have a lot of people around here that really want them to do well. So I don't really have any feelings towards them. So
I'm sure you don't.
But either way,
it's okay.
You know, I like the transition because I think that's really interesting with starting with Special Olympics, thinking it's really just helping kids play sports and then really getting an understanding of what it's all about, you know, and so that's great. So, and here you are at Make-A-Wish, and we're happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. It's been a whirlwind of 4 months, but it's been the best. And as you said, the team here is phenomenal. All our volunteers are great. Our board, like there couldn't have been a more supportive and you know, group of people that have been doing this for a very long time. I'm just here to help shepherd it and continue to grow it. But you know, it's a great organization. Couldn't be happier. And I will say the commute is a lot easier too.
That I'm sure. If you're going from Peekskill down, that's better.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's almost only one road.
Bonus of a great job is that now it's a 20-minute ride instead of a 90-minute train. So it's you know, it's got its perks for sure.
Absolutely. Well, now you had referenced this a little bit in the beginning that a lot of times people think of, you know, vacations, trips, the infamous Disney World kind of thing. So what did you guys have to do during the last 2 years, you know, with COVID, and how did technology kind of become a part of that? Because to me, you now have to not only communicate with each other, which is challenge number one, but then you have to communicate with donors. And more importantly, you have to communicate with people who are going to use your services and their families. And so it's kind of like a threefold problem. And I didn't know how you guys dealt with that.
Yeah. So, you know, the team here did a great job of just, not to use the really overused pandemic word of pivot, but, they really definitely had to think differently, like they weren't allowed to be here at the Great Wish House together. And so learning how to, just like everyone else, the team had to go through that. And, and then reach, as you said, like, wish granting is a very personal, in-person experience, in normal times, if a kid has expressed that they want to wish, we have a great group of volunteers that are wish granters, and they go to the home of the child and sit with them and talk and really dive into what, you want to make that wish, what they really want. And so sometimes kids sometimes have trouble expressing. So what does that mean? And so, doing that virtually it's a lot harder. Kids, but as kids, I think, got used to going to school virtually during that time and communicating with family, it did become a little bit easier. But I think there's many volunteers who I'm meeting who are like, when can we go back to, being in person? And hopefully we'll get there soon enough. But so that was, that is hard, but the technology allowed us to keep communication with our wish kids, even those who may have been waiting for their wishes. It can be check-ins and things like that. So just like a lot of everybody else had to figure out how to use that technology, we did too. And I think from a donor perspective too, I think there were opportunities that some of the big events that the team that we do as an organization is our walk for wishes, which is in the fall. So when that couldn't happen, they did a great job of offering people opportunity. You could do it in your neighborhood, so it was still, let's raise money. You can still do these events. We couldn't do it together, which was unfortunate, but we were able to do it this October together, and it was the best walk ever. So that raised the most money, most people. So everyone had that, I think, that pent up energy of wanting to be together. It's what we do, right? And so I think those are the great opportunities that we had. And as far as granting wishes, there was some changes that had to be made, obviously. Everyone had to reimagine. Some of our children were allowed to wait, if they wanted to wait for their wish, if their travel was part of their plan. There's certainly, we offered them that opportunity, but some kids, may not have wanted to wait or wanted to think differently about their wish. And so we gave them that opportunity as well. And so some of our kids, like I said, like I referenced the young person getting a pool today, that from what I understand, she was like, you know what, I don't want to wait anymore. I want a pool. I can get more use out of a pool. So cool. We allowed them to reimagine if they wanted to. So we've had to, figure it out as not only our chapter, but as an enterprise across the country, as Make-A-Wish America, of giving options, and just let's have conversation. But if a child wants to wait, hopefully soon we'll be starting to get more kids out there traveling, hopefully, knock on wood, we get to that soon enough. But it was the one wish that had the power, that one type of wish, was that celebrities, right? So meeting a celebrity is one of the options that I wish to meet, right? And so that obviously couldn't happen during the pandemic because that made it harder. But exactly what you and I are doing today, Joe, is how we were able to fulfill wishes. So we were able to, some of our kids were able to do, Zoom calls with a celebrity. I can tell you a really quick story that happened right before I got here. But there was a young man who unfortunately was given a terminal diagnosis and was a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys and wanted to go to Dallas, but that wasn't possible for him in his situation. And so, upon further discussion, was found that he's a huge fan of Tony Romo, right? So he works for CBS now, and through a great board member connection, quickly was made, and the young man had almost an hour Zoom call with Tony Romo and asking him questions. Wow. And ultimately, unfortunately, that young man did pass away, but his family will always have that, right? And that recording or that moment where, he got to spend with Tony. And I think, in many cases, our celebrities are like, you get more time with them when they're in their home and they're not busy doing their job or at a game or things like that. So we've heard that over and over, not only in our chapter, but other chapters, is that, some of the the celebrity were at home and they were isolated too, and they would take their device with them and travel around the house. You want to see my house? You want to meet my kids? And so it
It's
became a
pretty
much
cool.
actually more robust experience for them. So I think that's something that's been a good outcome of technology. Nothing will ever replace in person because
Right.
there's just that's always important. But you know, you figure out how to make things happen because it's so important. You know, their illness didn't go away during COVID. You
No.
know, so keeping them that opportunity, and the team has done a great job continuing to do that.
Well, it is funny because that was one of the comments that had come up that we just saw online was, how to make the wishes come true with social distancing and Zoom. And I think you've addressed that pretty good. So it's funny because that's how a lot of people think is how do you make the connection? And, we did a lot of things over the 2 years where, I mean, we did have a lot of close communication with people we would never, ever be able to have close communication with due to the remote and, kind of the role of what our role in the virtual piece and broadcast was much different in a lot of ways where we're really 100% in charge of everything. And,
Right.
so we got to meet some really incredible people and have very normal conversations.
Right. Yeah, no, the team actually too. I just, I remember watching it is they did a Stars at Home series where instead of having our wish ball, which is Friday coming up,
Oh,
we they did a Stars. So everyone, it was like almost like a virtual talent show. So what's your talent at home? And so people submitted videos and people could donate to the winner and things like that. So it was, a creative way of using technology in a way
that's
that
cool.
never would have even been thought of. Like, why would we need to do that? And so now that's something new, and it gave it gave Wish families and things a chance to be a part of. So that was fantastic as well.
Excellent. Well, that's really cool. It's just amazing how people can make adjustments and change if they have to, number one, and then that there is this technology available to do that.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I remember, when March 2020 happened, like in my role at MSG, like we didn't use Zoom. Like no one knew how to use it.
right,
And all of a sudden, and to the extent of not everybody even had a laptop to take home at that point because it was such a in person in the office. When you're doing live events and things like that, that didn't it wasn't always you didn't need that, right? You were always doing stuff. So just figuring out how to get that and then using it, and then what you ended up doing with that, with presentations and video, like learning so much that like I'm not sure would have happened. Maybe ultimately, but not at the rapid speed that it did for sure.
no, that's very true. It's very true. So you just mentioned that you have an event coming up this week.
We do, which you and your wonderful team are going to be a big part of. Yeah, it's our wish ball. It's our first one since
Wow,
2019.
that's good stuff.
Over at Brae Burn Country Club. Yeah, it's like it seems so far away. I actually was at that event, so I feel like I was a guest, but now I'll be, we're part of the team hosting it. So it's been great. We're so excited to be back in person and just be together and celebrate, what we do as an organization, and then what we've done for the past 2 years to keep giving wishes to kids. It's a time to be proud. It's a time to celebrate all of the donors, all the people that help us every day. Like it's such a great celebration, and we cannot wait for it to happen next on 48 hours from now. It's crazy, but it's coming soon, coming fast.
It is coming soon. It is coming fast. I got to say, it's a fantastic event every year. Glad to see everybody's going to be back in person. Just have such a nice community of people involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does. There's that saying, it takes a village, but it sure does. There's all different aspects to Make-A-Wish. Like obviously there's the family, there's the staff, but the volunteers, like I mentioned before, they're the ones who are our lifeblood. They go out and meet with the kids and support us, in the event. I think we have 30 volunteers coming to just support the wish wall and
Wow.
doing what we need to do because we're a staff of 12 people. We can't possibly do that on our own. So they'll be there and just vendors like yourselves, like there's so many people that come together and do such a great job for us. So it does, not only on our fundraising events, but on our wishes. Like it takes a community. Like I was mentioning the pool that's being installed today. Like there's the pool company, there's an electrician, there's different folks that have come like, I want to help, and so it always, a lot. I think that's what's so exciting about what we do is like it's not just one singular person, or it takes a lot of people coming together, but it just shows the power of what a wish is and how everybody gets it. Like, well, if you can do something, why aren't you doing it? And I think that's,
Right.
I've heard that from so many people since I've been here is like, of course I'll help. What can I do? What more can I do? And so celebrating that on Friday is going to be, it feels like the breakout party of for us in many ways of, coming through what we've all been through over the past 2 years.
Well, I think if anyone needs to learn more, certainly about what Make-A-Wish is all about, just go right to the website. You'll learn all about what the impact of a wish really means. And I think it's an incredible story. Now, can people still donate if they're not attending the event?
Absolutely. So if you visit the website, the hudson.wish.org, there's a link to the event. They can certainly donate. All money, will go help us fulfill even more wishes. There is a silent auction that is going to be part of the event that will be posted, I think, tomorrow on our website and definitely on our social media channels. So even if you're not at the event but want to support, we have, I think the last count I heard, we have close to 50 items, great items from gift cards, spas, food packages, you name it. It's probably, if there's something you want, it's sports tickets, it's probably in there. So that's a great way to help and you get something cool in return. So definitely.
Great. Okay, so here's the Hudson Valley chapter. Here's the page about the ball itself.
Yep.
I see you're going to have Mike and Darlene back again.
Yes, so we're thrilled. Actually, they're back, but the difference this year is that we're honoring them and they're not hosting. So Darlene Rodriguez from WNBC and Mike Bennett from WHUD here in the Hudson Valley have hosted the Wish Ball for close to 20 years, which is unbelievable. They're such great supporters of ours. But we decided, they need to take the night off and they're going to be honored, which I'm sure they're not going to be used to. It's going to be so different from them sitting and enjoying. And then our third honoree is ShopRite Supermarkets, which are a phenomenal corporate partner for us. Since 2017, if anybody has been to a ShopRite store in April, probably been asked to give money at the register. And that campaign has raised over $500,000 for us. So,
wow.
And they just completed another one. So they are just such a great community corporate partner for us. So there's a no-brainer to honor them as well this year. So we have a great slate of honorees. So excited. I think, like I said, I think Mike and Darlene are not going to know what to do because they're not in control. So they're just going to have to enjoy. But I know they're looking forward to it. And we're so thrilled to be able to honor them. But we have a couple of Wish kids who are going to be our Wish alum who've had their wishes are going to be our hosts. And they're going to be great and do a great job. So it's going to look a little different, but the feel of it is still going to be the same.
I think that's great. I mean, fortunately, I've had a chance to see the program and it looks fun. So
yeah, I think it's going to be fun. It'll be poignant. We have a great wish story to tell. We want folks to, really understand what we do as a chapter. So we have Chardell Buchanan, whose son Benjamin just had his wish, and she's going to share her story with us, and that's going to be phenomenal. It's just, like we talked about storytelling. We have great stories, and this is the way for us to be able to tell those stories.
Excellent. Well, as Christina said, there's plenty of ways for you to get involved and to donate. You can find almost all of those right there on the website. Makes it pretty easy for you to help out and be a part of things. But I have seen, fortunately, I have seen a number of your, Wish families and had a chance to meet people. And I mean, it's really an impactful experience all around. And I think that's what people want out of their lives. They want to feel like they're contributing.
Right, absolutely. And, obviously donations are critical for us, but there's also opportunity if you wanted to become a volunteer. There's different opportunities. So if that, I know that's something that I think we all took took assessment of, like, during the past 2 years, is like, what, being socially responsible has become more important to a lot of people. So we definitely have those opportunities. So yes, obviously raising funds is critical for us to be able to send kids on their wishes, but equally as important are volunteers and that opportunity to give back. That, like I said, there's some, to become a wish granter is a much more involved process, but there's also
Mhm.
other opportunities. And we would love, if that's something you're interested in, definitely reach out to us, and we would love to have conversations to see where that fit would be.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this isn't an African safari, but I mean, it's not that bad, right?
No, no, this is great. I love it. I love it. It's a great way to take a break from wishball planning too, and talking and remembering while we're all doing it, because it's a little, just like any big event, which I'm sure Joe, it gets a little chaotic right before you have your event, but it's controlled chaos, which is great, and it's the team's working so hard just to make it a special night for everybody who's going to be there, and it definitely will. It's going to be beautiful, so we're excited.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, I think you have a lot of planning still to do, and I know on my side we still have a few things to do too. So I don't want to tie you up too much longer, but thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for helping all these families in the Hudson Valley.
No, well, thank you for this is a great opportunity, and thank you. You guys are a great example, as well as a corporate partner that steps up and does the work for these organizations, and we're enormously grateful for you and your team for making our event and making other things that we do throughout the year so important, and presented in the right way. And that's, you know, it's a great night, and people, I know, have come to expect the great work that your team does, and that's, we're just excited. We're just so excited to be back. Like, I think that's it's been so long. It just feels like an eternity that we were, back. 2019 seems like, more than 3 years ago. But so
Yeah,
it's just, we're so excited, and we're so grateful for you and your team. So thank you.
absolutely. I think we're going to have a great night. We'll have a lot of really good energy in the room, and that makes it a nice experience for everyone involved, all the volunteers, all the families, all the children.
Absolutely. And our donors and all the guests.
Of course. I'm sorry I forgot the donors.
No, no, of course.
But listen, thank you again, Kristine, for your time today. And we're going to see you on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. And thank you to everyone that watches. And, again, if you want to know more about Make a Wish, even if it's just to learn a little bit more, if it's something you're interested in, obviously visit our website, and there's contact info. Give us a call, drop us a line. We want to share, we want to hit more of our area, get to more of our eligible children. So please, I encourage you to just visit the website, reach out to us, and we would love nothing more to share what we do with you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kristine. We'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Okay. And so, everyone, I mean, you've seen the website. You know about the Wish Ball. It's going to happen this Friday. You can go right on the website. You can get involved in many different ways, either as donors, as sponsors, as someone who's helping to grant a wish, and of course, as volunteers. Because as you heard from Kristine, there's a lot of volunteers needed to try to support each one of these wishes, as well as this particular event they have Friday night. But either way, what a great organization. Listen, we're going to wrap up today. Just a reminder, you can find us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Subscribe, be a part of it. Drop your name, drop a comment, just like our friend Marissa did earlier. Thank you, Marissa. And then, of course, afterwards, Alexa's going to be working her magic and creating smaller bites of videos that capture some of the impactful moments. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week. Enjoy.